Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Val and Ivy and here we talk about everything pink, campy, and spooky. So today I have 25 recommendations for the perfect Summerween reading list. I've even gotten into the holiday spirit with my Summerween camp slasher t-shirt. So some of these books I have already read, but most of them I have not read yet. I've been collecting them since the beginning of the year, specifically for summertime. And yeah, let's get started with these 25 Summerween recommendations. So our first book is How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive. So this one takes place in the 80s in Hollywood. Sign me up already. This one follows a screenwriter and a director. So his producer, he wants him to continue making these like kind of popcorn horror, you know, fill up the seats with a bunch of kids and teenagers, kind of slashers and everything. They're kind of silly, they're kind of stupid, they're, you know, of course, like super campy and everything. And he's tired of it. He's like, I want to make like an artsy, art house, real horror film. Like he really wants to get into like the artsiness of it all. And his producer is like, yeah, no, I need you to make what makes me money. And our main character, he finds at like this vintage shop, he finds a cursed, haunted, a little bit of both, film camera. And this camera, whenever you focus it on somebody and you have, you know, you think in your mind, you have like an emotional, you know, attachment to them, it kills them. Some type of catastrophe happens, some type of like crazy chain of events happens, and it kills the person and they die on camera. Our director, he gets a crazy idea. He writes up a script and he's gonna use this camera and he's gonna make a horror movie. But the deaths aren't going to be fake. Like, it's gonna be real deaths caught on camera, and he's gonna make that the movie. Okay, so our next book is 5 Survive. So this follows 6 teens, they've just graduated high school / young adults, and they are going to go on a final trip. It's the beginning of summer, and they're gonna go on one last hurrah before they all have to kind of split up and go to college. They plan on going to a like camp in the woods, and they have their RV, they have all their supplies, they have everything. But they break down on the way to where they wanna go. And they're nowhere close to where they wanna be. They break down in like South Carolina, and they wanna go to Florida. So they break down in the woods, in the middle of nowhere. So they're outside, they're trying to see what's wrong, and it's a flat tire, of course. At first they blame it on, well, it's a, you know, gravel road, we probably ran over something sharp, and you know, it is what it is. I guess we'll wait until daylight and see if we can, you know, walk somewhere to get help, have somebody help us change this tire. But then someone starts firing at them with a gun. And they're like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't something sharp in the road. Maybe someone shot out our tires. And they would be correct. You know, with the title, there's 6 main characters. So the title already gives it away. One dies. The author kept it under wraps very, very well. You had no idea. You had no idea. You had no idea who was in cahoots with the people outside, and you had no idea who dies. So yeah, it's kind of a mystery thriller. At the heart of it, it's a mystery thriller, but it gets bloody a little bit, and yeah, it's definitely a really good summertime thriller, so highly recommend. Okay, so our next one, I loved this book. This is my first book I've read by Maureen Kilmer, and she's coming up again on the list. I've of course already read this. I already read the other 2. And y'all, I loved this book. It's Suburban Hell. It's the perfect mixture of funny and campy. I love a suburbia setting. I love like it's a picture perfect neighborhood, little, you know, Edward Scissorhands little neighborhood. It's so pastel and perfect. And then there's obviously crazy stuff happening. And so this follows a group of friends. They're in their 30s, early 40s. They have husbands, they have kids. They're just regular ladies in a suburban neighborhood. And they decide that they need like a third space. You know, all they do is they go to work, they take care of their kids at home, and they need a place that's just for them to hang out. So they decide, hey, in one of the girls' backyard, we'll build a she shed. How fun is that? That will be our third place. That's where we'll meet up and we'll have our wine night and our movie night, and we won't get interrupted by the kids. We hopefully won't get interrupted by the husbands, and it'll be fun. Well, as the construction begins for the she shed, they unearth something, and it's an ancient like demon, and it possesses the woman who it's her property that they're making the she shed. This ancient demon possesses her, and the other three friends have to help her like basically have an exorcism. And throughout the book, you're kind of following the main friend, and she's, you know, watching, well, the main character, and she's watching her friend slowly turn kind of weird, a little off. Like, she is definitely not herself. Like, she's usually the picture perfect, you know, super sweet type A1. She's like really innocent, and she wears little sweaters and everything. But now she's coming to the barbecues, you know, dressed in a little va-va-voom. She's, you know, acting a little sassy. She's not being her normal self at all, and her appearance is changing and everything. So we have to follow the three friends, help give an exorcism, and kind of like help figure out what's going on with their friend. It's such a good book. So if you want to read a book that takes place in the middle of summertime, gives you that suburban horror, a little bit campy, a little bit funny, about female friendships and a group of girls just trying to be there for each other, this is a really great Summerween read. I highly recommend. So the next book on my list, this is The Last Party. Y'all, it's good. It's really good. I'm very excited to read more by this author. But being in this main character's head, it's rough. I mean, not in like a bad way as in like the writing. No, the writing's really, really, really good. It's like kind of crazy hearing and seeing like how her mind plays out. Like, she's scary. There's something really, really, really wrong with this main character. She has you on edge pretty much the entire time. So this follows a lady who, let's see what her name is. So her name is Perla. So Perla is a wife and a mom. They have money. They live in a super like ritzy neighborhood in California, and it takes place during the summertime, and her daughter's birthday is coming up. Well, Perla is obsessed with a murderer. She is obsessed with this story of a man who murders these group of girls at a slumber party that takes place at his daughter's birthday party. And Perla wants to recreate that with her daughter and two of her daughter's best friends. She wants to kill her daughter and her daughter's two best friends to recreate the murder scene that she's literally obsessed with. So she's planning it all. So the story, you know, we're working toward the month of August. So the whole time the daughter, she's out from school, and you're hearing her thoughts. Like, she's getting jealous of the daughter. She's super jealous of the daughter, by the way. She's super jealous of the way she looks. She's jealous of like her life and all of like her future, you know, opportunities and everything. The daughter wants to be a famous actress. The daughter's she has like a big personality, and she's very, very smart. She's jealous of the way her husband and her daughter interact. Like, she's just jealous all around. And then she's really like possessive and emotionally abusive with her husband. I mean, Perla's one hell of a character to be inside the head of. Just putting that out there. So yeah, she has plans to murder her daughter and recreate this murder scene with her own daughter. And I kind of can't give much more, I really can't give much more away because it'll kind of spoil things. So yeah, if you want to be inside the head of like a psychopathic lady and like highly narcissistic, really, really scary, girl, I recommend it. So our next book is The Final Girl Support Group. This literally had me from the title. That's why I bought it. Anything that's like Final Girl, Scream Queen, if it has that in the title, if it has that like in the description and the little, you know, blurb at the bottom or anything, I'm adding to cart. I'm picking it up and putting it in my basket. I love anything that's like Final Girl, Scream Queen, love it. I eat it up every time. This follows the main character and her group of other girls who have survived a like horror slasher movie level. All of them literally have films made after what happened to them. And they are each a final girl for their own like crazy, you know, slasher story. One was like the babysitter that, you know, got away. The other one like survived like a prom massacre. The other one, her, you know, crazy boyfriend, you know, breaks into her house and kills her whole family. She's the only one that survives. It's so many stories that are very reminiscent to real life kind of horror movies. So if you are a like classic 80s, 90s slasher horror fan, you will definitely appreciate this because these girls, like their real life events become a huge franchise, a huge movie. Well, at the beginning of their, you know, support group meeting, they have like a support group meeting, I think once a month. One of the girls doesn't show up. And they're really worried because she is like a mainstay for this group. She never misses a session. She created like this retreat for, you know, victims of, you know, like horrific crimes to, you know, go to. Like she is very involved in the community. She's very popular and they're worried like, you know, where is she? She's never missed a session and she's not answering her phone. So in the middle of the session, they all get news notifications that she's dead. And not only is she dead, she's brutally murdered at the scene of her tragic events, like where they happened. It happened at a summer camp. So now the remaining members are having to figure out who killed her and who's next. So they have a serial killer that is wanting to pick them off each one by one, and we have to figure out who it is. And yeah, it's a really good kind of whodunit. It's very thrillery, very, very Summerween. If you love like summer slashers, this will definitely be perfect. Really good writing. Grady Hendrix, for a man, he's really good at writing women, which is not easy to find. So thank you, Grady. Yeah, highly recommend. So the books that I have already listed are books that I have already read. And for the remaining books on this list, I have not read them yet. So first we're gonna get started with Fantasticland. So this takes place in Florida and a hurricane has blown through. It was a very devastating hurricane. And the employees of this amusement park, Fantasticland, are trapped. Yeah, so the employees, they're stuck there for 5 weeks. I mean, this hurricane must have been crazy. Like, I have lived through hurricanes my entire life, living in the Southeast US, and this must have been a crazy hurricane, Jesus. So like when the authorities get there, they're like, okay guys, this is gonna be a rescue effort. We need to help these people. You know, they've been here for 5 weeks. They're probably starving, dehydrated. You know, let's get them out of here. But they approach a scene of pure horror. They don't know what happened during these 5 weeks with these people, but something more than just a hurricane and people starving and people being dehydrated and people being injured from the elements happened. This is like they say it's like a Lord of the Flies meets Battle Royale type situation. Yeah, so they kind of created like a little society, a little cult. Everybody was split up into different like little categorizations. And there's like heads on spikes and there's human bones rearranged in crazy ways. So something really crazy happened, and we're uncovering everything that happened through like police reports and the investigators' notes and, you know, like news reports and everything. So I'm really excited to read this. I want to know what happened to these people and why they did what they did. It kind of sounds a little culty, a little bit like they started a cult and all kind of went mad and everything, which I love a good cult story. Yeah, and the way that it's written sounds very interesting. Like it's not a narrative where it's following a main character and it's, you know, going through like that. It's written in such a way where it's like, you know, police interviews and the investigators, and I think that's a really unique way to write a story. Okay, so this next book is Summer Camp for Slasher Victims, and if you look at it, it's kind of like, it looks like an old VHS and has like the little rated R little thing. I love it. Summer Camp for Slasher Victims. So our main character, Annie, she runs a summer camp that her grandfather created that helps people who have experienced very devastating, tragic events. Crazy things start happening at this summer camp and bodies start piling up, and they soon discover that there is a killer lurking out there and they have very sinister motivations. Annie has to figure out how to survive, how to help these already traumatized campers survive. She has to figure out how to get out of here. She has to figure out who the killer is and why they're doing this to these poor people. She's going to become someone worthy of the camp herself. So I think this one sounds really great. Love the cover, love the vibe. Summer Camp for Slasher Victims, that title really got me. So yeah, excited for this one. So the next book is The Last Murder at the End of the World. We follow a group of 122 people who are on an island. So 3 out of these 122 people are scientists. And there's this crazy fog that came through and swept through the entire Earth and killed everyone on Earth except for these people. They have these, you know, barriers up to keep the fog out, and they're safe on this island. Everything's great. Everyone's getting along. They have a system. They, you know, they fish and they forage and they're just kind of living their life, which, I mean, honestly, it sounds kind of nice. But the not good part is one of the scientists ends up murdered, stabbed to death. With this, the security system, like the barrier keeping the fog from rolling in, goes down. Everything pretty much goes to hell. They have 107 hours before the fog completely smothers the island, and this fog, it kills everyone it touches. There's no way to survive it. But everyone also has some sort of amnesia. They all woke up not being able to remember anything that happened the night before, which was the night one of the scientists was stabbed to death. Everyone on this island is a suspect. One of these people stabbed this scientist. Not only are we trying to figure out who it is, but they are trying to figure out who it is. And the murderer themselves is completely unaware that they are indeed a murderer. So it's a thriller, it's a whodunit, it's a race against time horror. So there's several things going on when it comes to suspense, and I love that. The next book is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, and this follows a main character named Charity, and she's a scare actor at this little camp type thing. It's like a you know, little horror, little attraction maze thing, and it's based off of a fictional movie, you know, in the book. And she is one of the actors at this place, and on the last weekend, some of her fellow scare actor friends end up dead, like for real dead. And they're supposed to stay in character like at all costs. It's like Disney. You can't break character. You have to stay in character. But when her real friends start getting real murdered, she realizes that not only is she playing the role of the final girl as her character, but she is going to actually, hopefully, be the final girl. And she has a girlfriend, and her girlfriend and the rest of the gang have to survive, and they have to figure out who the serial killer is and who's out here chasing them all, and she's determined to be the final girl. I'm all in. So the next book is Now She's Dead. So this follows Mandy, and last summer her best friend Sarah is found dead at the lake. Now the authorities rule it as an accident after, you know, a night of drinking. They rule it as an accidental, you know, drowning and everything. But Mandy, our main character, she comes back the following summer, and she knows what happened to Sarah, and the townspeople, they're starting to get a little unsettled. They don't think it was an accident, and they want answers. They think someone murdered this girl, and only our main character knows the full story, and there's someone after her who wants the answers to what happened to her best friend last summer. This sounds like a really good, like, you know, she died, who did it, you know, like the kind of, you know, dead girl, you know, mystery thriller type thing. This sounds really interesting. Just the information on the back is all I want to know. I want to go in as blind as possible. Yeah, see if it's any good. The next book is Nightmare of a Trip by Maureen Kilmer. She's also the author of one of my favorite books that I read this year, Suburban Hell. And this follows a woman named Lee and her husband and kids, and they decide to go on a family summer road trip. They're going from Wisconsin all the way down to Florida. Along the way, when they go through Indiana, they approach this like really creepy burned down farmhouse, and it unleashes like some paranormal bad vibe type thing, and it follows them for the rest of their trip, and they have to figure out how to get this energy, whatever it is, to go away, or their trip is just kind of doomed. And the last like little section of the back, it says, from creepy indoor water parks to paranormally plagued Cracker Barrels, it's one thing after another in the pursuit of the great American road trip. Will the Somersets be able to shake these bad vibes and get on with the family bonding? Or will the road less traveled quite literally become the highway to hell? I'm already really excited for this. I'm very confident in Maureen Kilmer's stories. They're horror and they're spooky, but they're like on the funny, campy side of horror and spooky vibes. I really love that. Anything that's campy and fun mixed in with horror, I know I'm gonna love it. So I am very, very excited for this. The next book I have is Demon Summer. So this book popped up as an Instagram ad for me, and by looking at the cover, I was immediately hooked, and I knew I wanted to add it to a Summerween TBR, like hello Demon Summer. So this follows a teenage boy named Zane. So he moves to this small town called Paradise Falls at the beginning of summer, and he gets a job at a diner, and his two new friends that he meets at the diner, you know, while they're working their summer jobs, they find this super old cookbook, and they're like, okay, let's make one of the recipes from the cookbook. Sounds fun, right? Like, what could go wrong? Well, they summon an ancient succubus, and she has a taste for male flesh. I mean, it's kind of iconic, you know? But not only is the town getting like tortured by this succubus demon, the town also has some really dark secrets already, and Zane and his friends are having to race against time to save the town from the succubus, but then along the way, they are uncovering the secrets of this town. I love a good small town. I love a good creepy small town. So, Demon Summer. The next book is called The Summer I Ate the Rich, and the back little blurb thing says, just add lemon, garlic, and a dash of the 1%. I love a good anti-capitalist horror. So this follows our main character, Brielle. Her dream is to be a star chef, but her mom is very ill. Becoming a chef really isn't like a very practical plan, you know, coming from a poor family with a sick mom. But when her mom loses her job, they don't have any money to pay the bills, Brielle gets a job as a chef for the rich people. They love her cooking. They're obsessed. They think her food is absolutely amazing. And her secret ingredient is human flesh. So I love this because it says right here, this smart, biting new horror inspired by Haitian zombie lore scrutinizes the socioeconomic and racial inequity that is the foundation of our modern times. Just like Brielle's clients, it will have you asking, what's for dinner? I have heard about Haitian zombies, and I think that's so, like the zombie lore and everything from there, I think it is so cool. Like I've said a million times before, but this time, like I especially mean it. I am so excited to read this. Just for the title and cover alone, the Bloody Pearls, very, very excited for this one. So kind of sticking with the summertime zombie cannibalism theme is This Delicious Death. So this follows a group of friends. They're going to a music festival. Now, a couple of years ago, there was this crazy pandemic that affected just a small portion of the population, but to those that it did affect, it turned them into cannibals. Like they went absolutely mad and they couldn't survive without human flesh. So scientists created a cure, and they created something called Cineflesh, and it's basically just a lab made human flesh to keep these people, you know, satisfied. These four friends, they are one of the affected people, and they have to have, you know, their Cineflesh. And they go to this music festival, and they're like, it's kind of like a Coachella-esque music festival in the summer out in the desert. And they're like, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be our last hurrah, you know, before, you know, going to college and everything. And it's gonna be a great time. Well, one of the band members from one of the performing bands ends up dead. And then more people end up dead. And everyone that ends up dead is one of the hollow people. And everyone that's dying is someone that's affected by this illness. And the girls are realizing, oh my God, someone here is killing us all. And we're possibly next, but we're trapped in the middle of nowhere, and we have to figure out how to survive. Has several things that I love. The music, the desert. So yeah, this is gonna be a really, really good one for me. And hopefully for you too. Hopefully. So this next book, I'm sure you all have probably already heard of it. Everyone was talking about it, and that is Bury Your Gaze. So this follows our main character named Misha, and he has a TV show. The producers are like, hey, for the final season, you wanna like kill the gay characters? And Misha's like, no. Why would I wanna do that? And Misha's like, what are you talking about? So you want me to just kill all the gay characters? And his producers are like, yeah. And Misha's like, no. The answer is no, I'm not killing only my gay characters. Well, little does Misha know, that put a target on his back. And the monsters from his old horror movies, from his previous movies, they're haunting him and his friends throughout the hills of Los Angeles. Yeah, this sounds really good. All right, so the next book on our list is The Sundown Motel. First is 1982, and it follows Viv. Now she moves to upstate New York and she gets a job as the front desk clerk to the Sundown Motel. Automatically she knows this place is weird, this place is creepy, like weird spooky things happen here, and I'm not so sure about this place. Well, fast forward from 1982 to 2017, and her niece Carly, she is enthralled with the story of her aunt. She wants to know why her aunt disappeared while working at this Sundown Motel. And in order to uncover the mystery of what happened to her aunt, she gets a job at the Sundown Motel. And she very soon figures out, yeah, this hotel, the people here, everything, it had something to do with my aunt's disappearance for sure, because this place is weird and creepy and something spooky is going on here. So yeah, this one sounds like a good one. Love this. The next book is called Freakslaw. So it takes place the summer of '97 in a small Scottish town. Coming in is this circus. It's this, you know, freak show attraction called Freakslaw. The people who are at the freak show or the Freakslaw, they draw in all of the kids and the teenagers of this small Scottish town. But the people of the Freakslaw, they have a secret and they want revenge. So they were the outcasts, they were the freak shows. They were cast out for centuries and they want revenge, and they're gonna get it. And the townspeople, especially the adults and everything, they are very unwelcoming of Freakslaw and all of the people who are the entertainers for Freakslaw. They are very against this. Tensions rise. It's this small town versus these, you know, entertainers. There's a centuries old, like, dark secret that's about to be unleashed. And honestly, I'm already rooting for the Freakslaw people. I mean, you're gonna cast me out. I'm gonna be an outcast. You're gonna make fun of me. You're gonna force me to entertain you. And then on top of that, you're gonna be rude. On top of that, you're gonna be unwelcoming yet again. Now that I'm here to entertain you, like, yeah, I would want revenge too. Like, I'm already rooting for the Freakslaw people, so I hope they win. The next book is called The Last Time I Lied. So this follows our main character named Emma. Now, as a kid, she went to this summer camp, and her 3 friends, she witnessed them sneaking out of their little cabin. They were never to be seen again. Now, Emma, as an adult, she's never known what happened to her best friends. No one knows what happened to her best friend. She is now a famous artist in New York. Emma decides to go back to the summer camp that her best friends disappeared from as the art instructor. But along that way, she's gonna try to figure out what happened to them and try to get some closure. But the closure comes at a deadly price, and whatever or whoever did whatever they did to her friends, it may be coming back to haunt her. And yeah, all the secrets are going to be revealed, and there's like these, you know, mysterious like threats, and she's sorting through all these lies, trying to figure out what happened. It kind of sounds like a kind of a mystery, more of a mystery thriller. I don't get like full on horror from this, although who knows, but I'm definitely getting like a mystery thriller kind of element, kind of, you know, the girl sorting through her past and trying to figure out what happened. And yeah, I like those kind of stories. Sometimes they don't really pan out very great, but hopefully this one does, so we shall see. The next book is Camp Damascus. So this follows a group of young people who are sent to a summer camp. And it's not just any summer camp. It's a gay conversion camp. Now that aspect alone is the horror, is a horror. But outside of like the horrors of the gay conversion camp part of this camp, there's also some really sinister and spooky things going on besides that. And it says, "Welcome to a God-fearing community with a heart of gold. Nestled high up in the mountains is Camp Damascus, the self-proclaimed most effective gay conversion camp in the country. Here, a life free of sin awaits. But the secret behind that success is anything but holy. And then the character says, something is wrong in Neverton, Montana, and that something isn't me. Okay, so this next one is Heads Will Roll. Now, first of all, this cover, like, that's just like quintessential Summerween. I mean, a bloody axe, marshmallows for s'mores. Can't get any better than that, right? So this follows a main character named Willow. Now, she's also getting sent to a camp. But no worries, it's not a bad camp. This is actually a really good, like, rehabilitation type camp. And she's a famous actress from a sitcom, and she kind of went a little crazy with some tweets, and she got herself in some serious hot water with her team, her publicist, the public at large, and she kind of got canceled. Yeah, people really don't like her right now. Her manager is like, you need to go. You need to have a break. You need to go take a breather. I'm gonna send you to this camp for and there's other kind of stars there. So there's like some screenwriters or some directors. There's like other Hollywood people there. Her favorite actress actually ends up being there, and it's kind of a way to kind of bring yourself back down to reality. Okay, let's get that ego under control. But things start getting scary when one of the campers ends up missing. And then there's a mutilated doll head that ends up in Willow's bedroom with a creepy, cryptic, very scary note rolled up inside of it, meant for Willow. And now everybody's like super freaked out, and they have to figure out, where's this missing person? Who took them? How did they go missing? And are we all about to die? And it also says right here, and did that jaded writer, Danny, just wink at her? And Danny spelt D-A-N-I. Is there gonna be a little bit of sappicness to this? I really hope there's a little bit of sappicness to this. So yeah, surprise lesbianism in a horror book. Girl, yes. Yes, a million times yes. So the next book is called Summer Rental. And this one right here is marketed as Mean Girls Meet Scream in this heart-pounding psychological thriller. Mean Girls Meet Scream? You better live up to that, because that's what got me. Mean Girls Meet Scream, like, hello. This follows a girl named Riley and her group of friends. And again, they've just graduated high school. They're all 18. They're going on a last hurrah before they start college. We've seen it, we've heard it, we know it. They're going to Palm Key Island for a big blowout party weekend. Their plans are kind of ruined by another hurricane. And then also, all of the friends, including Riley herself, they're all hiding a secret. And the biggest secret is why and how Jordan Chang, one of their classmates, ended up dead last summer. So yeah, this hurricane completely cuts them off from civilization for a little bit, and a killer is stalking them, and one of them ends up dead, and the body count literally starts climbing up and up and up, and Riley has to figure out who's doing this, why are they doing this, and make sure she and her crush are not next. The next book we have is The Summer She Went Missing. So this follows Paige, and she's always felt lucky to spend her summers with her best friend Audrey. Now, Audrey comes from a pretty wealthy family. They have like this big mansion, and they're there hanging out during the summer. Audrey and Paige, they go and they hang out with all the rich kids. They have a bunch of parties for the summertime. And one night, Paige notices that Audrey she's not quite herself. She's kind of aloof, she's kind of quiet, and then she goes out for the night, and then she never returns. So Paige and Audrey's family are trying to figure out what happened to Audrey. However, Audrey is not the first girl who's gone missing here, and there's actually just more questions than there are answers, and there's like a whole web of lies. And by the time Paige goes back the following summer, Audrey's case has gone cold. So now, this following summer, when Paige is kind of investigating Audrey's bedroom, kind of looking for clues, looking for answers, looking for anything that she can possibly find that can help figure out what happened to her best friend and maybe even solve some of the other missing girls cases, she finds a clue. Paige and Audrey's brother Dylan, they go out on this investigation and they're gonna figure out what the police could not, and they're gonna get answers. And they're gonna get answers about Audrey and all the other missing girls. But this town has secrets. And I mean, from the sounds of it, they have money to cover it up too. They're gonna be getting themselves into a pretty dark world that they had no idea was hiding right underneath their nose all these summers. And if Paige and Dylan aren't careful, Paige is gonna end up being yet another missing girl. The next book is called Bodies to Die For. It takes place during a like a bodybuilding women's like swimsuit competition thing. And you know how the old, you know, trope of, oh, you know, there's a beauty pageant and one of the pageant girls gets murdered and you have to figure out which pageant girl or which pageant mom, you know, murdered this, you know, star beauty queen. Well, it's like that, but with a bodybuilding swimsuit competition. We're following two characters. One, she's totally gone on a fitness transformation. She's transformed herself and she is now living like her dream life. And then we have our other character, and she is not happy with her life whatsoever. She's not happy with her fitness journey. She's actually having a failed fitness journey. She's unhappy with her job. She's just unhappy with her life in general. She joins a like radical group of like fat activists who are, you know, fighting against, you know, diet culture and, you know, beauty norms and all of that. Both of these main characters decide to enter the Olympia. It's a like fitness swimsuit competition. Everything's going fine. Like our first character, she's a, you know, fitness influencer, so she's gonna do great. And then the other one, she's like, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna, you know, totally, you know, change the game and say screw all of you. But then one of the girls is up dead. And not only is she dead, she's murdered. And then more and more and more of the girls in the competition are starting to die. And you have to figure out who's killing them. Is it one of the main characters, or are they about to be next? Is it somebody else? Who knows? It's a horror that sounds like it has something to say. Kind of like, I love like beauty horror. I love horror that is about like the horrors of beauty. The beauty industry, the fitness industry, the anything targeted to women on like, this is how you should look. It's very horrorcore. Like it's very spooky. And it's also very dystopian, late stage capitalist. It's very spooky. And I think it's a great tool for horror. Like kind of like The Substance, anything like Stepford Wives related. I love that kind of horror. It's like the horrors of being a woman, basically. So yeah, definitely has some points going on there for me. Okay, so our next book is My Best Friend's Exorcism. And y'all, again, it's like the vintage 80s VHS aesthetic. It has like the Be Kind Rewind, you know, staff pick little stickers and everything. And I know it's a marketing ploy, but I'm falling for it. It's gonna get me every time. This follows two high school best friends. They go out to a lake and they're playing around and they go skinny dipping. After that night, one of the best friends ends up acting really strange. Things just start getting stranger and stranger, and they start turning from strange to scary because the best friend is now possessed and the other friend has to figure out how to get her unpossessed. It follows the journey of like the horrors of being a girl, like hell as a teenage girl, which yes, it follows like these best friends. It's set in the 80s. It's like this small town 80s horror. It sounds like really campy too, because it says at the bottom like, if The Exorcist has been written by Tina Fey, and Tina Fey is the writer of Mean Girls. So this sounds girly, it sounds fun, it sounds campy, it sounds like just like a good fun time. And y'all, it's that time. It's the last book. It's our 25th book. The ultimate Summerween TBR. Our 25th book is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. This follows a group of young women who they're all teenagers, and it takes place in the 1970s, and they're all sent to a home for troubled teens because they're pregnant, and it's the 70s, it's the South, and that's not a great situation to be in. So they're sent to a very cool city, a very spooky city, a very haunted city. The main character, she meets a couple of other friends who were, again, all in the same, predicament as her. They're all, pregnant teen girls. Their lives are really controlled right now. Like, they're getting controlled by their parents. They're sent away, by their parents to this place. And then all of the staff is like helicoptering over them. Like, they have no freedom. They have no voice. Like, they have no autonomy whatsoever, and all of these situations are just getting forced upon these young girls. So our main character, she meets a librarian at the place they've been sent to, and the librarian's like, hey girl, I'm just gonna slide you this right here, just read it. You and your friends just go read it. And it's a book on the occult and witchcraft, and these girls are enthralled by this book, and they realize we actually have a lot of power now. We can take our lives back. We can do what we want to do. We can live the way we want to live. And all of these people who are controlling us and our situation, we can now do whatever we want with the power of witchcraft. However, and there's always a however, right? Things turn dark, and the whole with great power comes great responsibility. And the price they pay, like Grady said, the price they pay may end up being paid in blood. I am so excited to see what happens to these girls. I just feel really bad for these girls, and I'm already rooting for them. That is my reading recommendation and my TBR for Summerween. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you all take some or all of these recommendations. That would really mean a lot to me, and it would make me so happy. I always love watching booktubers and getting recommendations from them and adding it to my list, and I would love to be one of those people for all of you. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and stay spooky. Bye!